A year had passed since Emily walked out of my life, and I thought I had finally escaped the storm of our past, but that calm was about to shatter. It was a crisp November evening, the kind where the chill seeps into your bones, urging you to stay in and keep the world at arm's length. My downtown condo was quiet, the hum of the city outside barely reaching me. I had settled into a life of routine: work, books, occasional dinners out. Nothing thrilling. But after the breakup, that stillness felt like a shield. Emily and I hadn't spoken since the divorce papers were signed. No texts, no calls, just silence. An unspoken truce born from months of pain and resentment neither of us wanted to confront. I told myself it was safer this way, easier to avoid dredging up old wounds that still throbbed beneath the surface. And then the knock came. I wasn't expecting anyone. Not a neighbor, not a friend, not Emily. Heart rate spiking, I walked to the door and opened it. There she stood. Emily. Her hands twisted nervously in front of her, eyes reflecting something I hadn't seen in years: vulnerability. "James," she said, voice barely above a whisper. I froze. "Emily, what are you doing here?" She shifted, unsure. "I know this is sudden, but I need to talk to you. It's important." Important. The word echoed in my mind. Important. Was this a trap? A ploy to reopen old wounds? Or was something truly wrong? My instinct screamed caution, yet some part of me, the part that never fully let go, urged me to let her in. I stepped aside. She entered, moving cautiously, and sank onto the far end of the sofa. I sat opposite her, the space between us heavy with years of things left unsaid. "It's about my father," she murmured, her voice trembling.
Walking into that hospital room had felt like stepping back into a world I thought I'd left behind. But what happened next changed everything I thought I knew about forgiveness, family, and myself. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe. The following week was surreal. Emily and I spent long hours at the hospital, sitting side by side as her father's condition slowly worsened. The air was thick with machines and quiet sighs, punctuated by moments of small talk that felt heavy with unspoken tension. "I never realized how small the things we hold grudges over can seem in the face of real life," Emily said one evening, her voice low, almost a whisper. I nodded. "Funny, isn't it? All those fights, all the resentment, suddenly it doesn't matter as much as we thought." We were quiet for a moment, letting the weight of that truth sink in. Her eyes met mine briefly. No accusation, no lingering anger, just something softer, like the fragile truce we were building between us. Richard's hospital room became our unexpected classroom in humility, patience, and reconciliation. Each day brought small victories, a laugh shared over a bad joke, a fleeting moment when he forgot his discomfort and simply enjoyed the company of people who cared. One afternoon, Richard reached out and held my hand, surprisingly strong despite his frailty. "James," he said, his voice barely above a whisper, "thank you for being here. I know I was hard on you. I just didn't know any better." I looked at him, really looked, and saw not the domineering father-in-law from years past, but a man who'd made mistakes and now faced the weight of them. "I understand," I replied softly, "and thank you for wanting to make things right." For the first time, I noticed Emily's expression. Relief, gratitude, even a glimmer of something I couldn't quite name. Pride, maybe, that her father's final days were calmer, gentler. The week blurred into a rhythm of hospital visits, quiet dinners in the waiting area, and long drives home in silence where our thoughts churned privately. Emily and I didn't rekindle what we had once. There was no spark, no romantic longing, just something equally rare: respect, understanding, and a fragile sense of companionship. Then came the night that changed the tone completely. I was sitting by Richard's bedside, reading aloud a passage from one of his old favorite books. Emily had stepped out for a moment, leaving me with just the quiet hum of the machines. Richard's hand found mine again, trembling. "Jameis," he said, once more whispering, "I want you to have something to start fresh. You've been generous in ways I never expected." He reached under the blanket, producing a small envelope. My pulse quickened. Inside was a check, not large, but enough to give me a sense of security, and a handwritten note. "James, thank you for forgiving me. Use this to start something new. You deserve it." I swallowed hard. It wasn't the money that moved me. It was the gesture, the acknowledgement, the closure. Emily returned quietly, standing at the door. She didn't need to ask. I could see the same mixture of emotions reflected in her eyes: relief, gratitude, and a quiet sadness that this chapter was ending. When Richard passed a few days later, Emily and I stood side by side at the funeral. Not as husband and wife, not even as friends who had fully healed, but as two people who had survived, endured, and emerged changed. In the weeks that followed, our conversations shifted. We talked about memories, not the fights, not the regrets, but the moments that had shaped us. Trips we had taken, mistakes we had made, lessons we had learned. It was as if the walls between us, once thick with resentment, had finally crumbled. One afternoon, as I opened the mail, I found another letter from Richard's lawyer. Inside, beyond the formalities, was another note. "James, live well. Forgiveness is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Thank you for granting it to me." I held the note in my hands, feeling a release I didn't realize I needed. For the first time in years, I felt truly unburdened. And then it hit me. This wasn't just about Emily or her father. It was about me, about understanding that closure doesn't erase the past. It reshapes it, gives it context, and allows life to move forward. Emily and I never returned to the life we had once shared. That chapter was closed, sealed not by bitterness, but by compassion. Yet now when we spoke, it was with honesty and warmth, not suspicion or hurt. In the quiet moments, I realized that the most profound lessons often come from the people who challenge us the most. Richard had forced me to confront anger and resentment, and Emily had reminded me that even when relationships falter, the capacity for understanding and kindness remains. That year, that knock, that one unexpected conversation, it didn't bring back love, and it didn't erase the pain. But it brought something rarer: peace, closure, and the kind of quiet understanding that leaves a mark on your soul forever. Sometimes the people we least expect teach us the most profound lessons, and the hardest truths can lead to the deepest healing.